everyone, Auntie Tambarambaa, also known as Tammy Klinger, here with you again today. And today I'm sharing this cute little art journal page in my little book that I made just for my Advent calendar playing. So can you believe we are up to day 19 today? So let's open day 19 window and see what's inside. And it's a gorgeous little flower stamp. Oh, I love this stamp. I know I'm going to use this so much. So I thought I'd go with a different colour palette today. So I've grabbed out the paints called Breeze, which is like a minty colour, Peony, which is like a blush colour. I grabbed Police, which is a dark navy, and I think I've got white in there, which is lace, and also the new gold, I think it's called gold plated. Yes, gold plated metallic paint. So I've grabbed all of those and pulled out the pages on my journal, and then I've also decided to grab a bit of Ballet, which is the pink, and I mix that with a lot of white so it's not so strong because the colours are a little bit softer in this one. So I'm just whacking down. I'm starting with Peony, which is that blush colour, and I usually tend to work in threes, so I put it down in three places on my double page spread, and then I come in with some Breeze as well. And you'll notice that I do overlap a little bit, so I want to make sure it looks like one whole page and not two separate pages, so I bring that colour over so that it covers both pages at once. So that was the Ballet mixed with the white in there, and then the last colour I'm adding in is that beautiful navy blue, which is called Police. Now the thing with using the Police with these soft colours is not to add too much of it. It's easy to go overboard, but try and add little smaller patches because we will come in with some mark making, and if you've done lots of navy it will overpower too much. So I've almost done too much as I've done this, but it's just a little tip for you there. So now I'm just coming in with some of Marlene's flat brushes and just creating some mark making, which I absolutely love to do. I find this part so relaxing. So I'm basically just using the colours that I've already got out on my palette. So I started with the blush, and then, sorry, that's the Peony, it's a blush colour, and then I've used some of the pink, and I basically just do a few little marks where that colour is already on my page and then bring it out slightly, and it just is a way of covering up those where the paint colours have met and it can look a little bit messy, so it just covers those up. So this is now the Breeze, which is the really soft mint colour, and then this is the part that pulls it all together, which is the darker colour, that Police, and I've used a smaller brush for this just because, as I said, it can be quite overpowering, but you'll see once I add in this it actually pulls it all together. But I guess that's what I was saying before, is that it can overpower, so you can suddenly realise you've nearly covered your whole page with that dark colour. So just be careful with this little bit. But those other mark makings that I did earlier are really important just for the foundation and that interest and depth that it creates. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this, and I've dried it off, and the last step when I'm using colour is always to add back in a little bit of white. So I've done that with a bit of a bigger brush, just completely, not all over the page, but just making sure it covers different areas of the page. And I had to do, I think my brush was still wet, so I ended up having to do a couple of coats of that. So that is the lace paint. So we'll put that aside to let it completely dry, and we'll move on to the stamp. So I've grabbed a sheet of the Allround paper, which is the in the A6 size, and I'm just going to stamp these flowers onto it using black archival ink, and you'll see I'm stamping them at different heights. So I want some shorter flowers and I want some longer flowers. So I have left a bit of a gap on one of them where I plan to draw in the stems to make them longer. So you'll just see that that's sitting higher up in the page. And basically I give it a zap with a heat gun just to dry it off, and then I fussy cut them out. And I didn't want you to watch me fussy cutting, so I have skipped to that bit. So now I've cut them all out, and it's time to start placing them on the page. As I said, you want it to look like one whole page, and you want different heights, and you actually want some of the flowers at different angles as well. So I'm just gluing them on with the sticky glue, and you'll notice that I leave some of the stems hanging off a little bit, and I just trim them up at the end. But I find that is easier than trying to line up the stems while I'm gluing. If they hang over a bit, that's okay, I can just cut them off. So I'm continuing to stick them down. Hope you're loving the Advent calendar. Isn't it amazing? It's just wonderful. So this is actually one of my favourites, this stamp. So I was like, yes, when it fell on my day to create. And I think I'll be using it a lot. So now I'm coming in with some of the stickers, some of Marlene's stickers. These are an alpha set that was in one of her sticky quotes. I do list all my products underneath if you're interested in what they are and want to find them. So I started with, just wrote the word bloom, and then I found another quote that says give yourself time, and I cut that up and put that underneath, and I felt that really suited the page. So I wanted, because the bloom was individual letters, I'm not very good at getting them straight, so the tip is to don't get them straight, make them purposely look crooked. And I've just then drawn around the edge with a black pen. And so now I'm coming in with that gorgeous new gold, metallic gold paint called Gold Plated. And I'm just doing little dots. I'm squeezing it straight out of the paint tube, and because it has a fine nib, it just comes out beautifully, and you get, you can make little dots very easily. So it saves you getting out a brush, and yeah, I love that about these paints, that you can draw with them. So I just kind of scatter that across, and I really love this blend of colours. There's some sort of softer pastels, and then the bolder blue, and the gold sort of sets it off. So now I'm just doing a scribbly border around the edge, because I felt like those flowers look hand-drawn, and so I thought the hand-drawn border worked in with that. And then I'm just giving it a dry, and then I'll popped it into my album, and there you have it. Oh, hang on, I come back in. So what I'm doing here is adding some shadowing to my page. So I've got a Stabilo All pencil, which is basically a water-soluble pencil. You could use a watercolour pencil. And I'm thinking about the sun coming down onto the flowers from the top left corner and shining down. So it will create shadows underneath and on that right-hand side. So I've just drawn around the flowers with the pencil, and now just adding a touch of water with a fine brush, just to give that shadow look. And that just basically finishes off the page, and the stamps don't just look stuck on, they actually look like they're sitting in front of that background a little bit. So there you have it. I hope you're enjoying your Advent. I'm absolutely loving mine. I know this one will get well used. So I'll leave you with some close-ups, but I just wanted to take the time to thank you for all your support this year, for joining me all year round. Your support means so much to me. So wishing you a wonderful Christmas and time with your family. And as always, I'd love you to leave me a comment so I know you were here. Bye.